I just want to say thank you for inviting me. It's been great. I want to say congratulations to the Chef of the Year. Wonderful. Well done. And enjoy the year. It's brilliant. And it was great to hear what you were doing with the cooking as well, with the children, because that's really key to what we're doing at Charlton Manor. Put it into the education, the history that came from there. You looked at something local, you took something local, and you made it meaningful for the children through food. And that is exactly what we try and do a lot at Charlton Manor. So we're just going to go through some of the things that we do, hopefully. That's just boring, but it's what we have at the beginning of our Raise Online. It puts the school into a context. What does it say about our school? Well, it says it's a rather big school. It falls into the big part of the school. We're mainly girls, just more girls than there are boys. Only just. Free school meals, you can see we're right on. We're in the sort of high quartile of free school meals. High percentage of minority ethnic groups. We've got 47 languages spoken in the school, and we've got about 63.9, you can see there, percent of the children are from ethnic minority backgrounds, or 42.8 other languages, whereas nationally it's only 19.5. And then we've got a percentage of pupils with SEN support. It's quite low for a school like that. And actually, we think it's our approach and the way we use food in the curriculum which is responsible for that, because it's that creative way in working with those children that helps to keep that down. So we go on, look at the history. Now, I just want to say that actually, since as long as they've been wondering about schools and education and making them compulsory, they've been worrying about food and getting healthy food into children and feeding children. So that's a real key thing. It started with the space. There was a nice area of space that we wanted to clear, get rid of, and put a garden in. Why? Because this was about in 2005, 2006. I just became head in 2004. And the reason being is because it was in the news a lot. That children didn't know where their food came from. Or they did. They thought it came from Sainsbury's, Tesco's, things like that. That's where their food came from. Because actually, that's where it did come from, as far as they were concerned. Why didn't they realise it came from the ground? Because we weren't educating them. We weren't taking that step. It wasn't because they were silly in some way. It was like, well, children don't know this. What's going on? Well, it's us. We weren't looking at ourselves and saying, we're not educating them about that. We're not teaching them, and we should be. So why food? Why food? Why is food such a big thing? Well, why is English and maths such a big thing? English and maths is a big thing because it skills up children for their futures. It gives them the skills that they're going to need in order to attain well in the future. Well, then what's healthy eating doing? I don't know of any child that's lessened their life by 10 years by failing a maths or English A level. And it's really key. So we should be teaching healthy food as well, along with that, as well as exercise. So there it is, cleared. We got rid of the porta cabin that was there, various other things. Got it cleared right back. Volunteers did it, so finances, fine. And then we've got the children to think about what they wanted in their garden. Now, to do that, you need to get them experiencing it. So we took them to allotments, we took them to gardens and other things like that. Made sure they saw what was there. Made sure they understood why it was there. And basically, what is the importance of having a garden within the school? And they could see it. They could start to see it. Well, yeah, we didn't realise carrots came from it. Yeah, let's have a garden. Fantastic. So then we've got the plans made up by a professional landscape architect who took the ideas of the children and put it into a workable plan. So they wanted a maze effect. And during the summer, when it's all in leaf and everything like that, it really does, you don't get the whole garden at once. You go round the corner, something new comes into it. And here we are, that's the sort of garden up there now. That's our space now transformed. So you can see we've got a greenhouse, we've got raised beds, lovely little archways that lead into other areas where there's a hide or a greenhouse. We've got the greenhouse over there, we've got the workshop there, which has got the bee suits in and the weather station, and we've got the chickens there, you can see there. So it became a reality for the children. What do the children think? They loved it. We've got children enjoying their education. My goodness me, what are we doing? Well, that's what it's about, isn't it? Because we know that if we can switch children on and making them enjoy it, we don't have the behaviour problems. And that's what we found. We weren't having the behaviour problems. The only problem with that is we became a school where they were bringing their behaviour children from other schools to ours. But that's another story. But even they are settling in and not creating those behaviours that they're seeing in other schools. And that's about the learning again. We're making the learning real. You're making the learning real. Sitting before me, there's all these teachers, educators, leaders. That's what you are as well. Yes, you're chefs, but you're also leaders in those ways. When you go to that school, the Chef of the Year was teaching the children about history. Fantastic. So what we've got the picking up worms. They're picking up worms, they're getting dirty, they're getting messy. So we've got the growing area, we've got using the garden provides many measuring, and later on there's other slides where I'll show you where it's much easier to teach children about measuring sitting in a classroom with a picture on the wall. And I can tell children, well, here's a metre rule. That's a metre. Well done, fantastic. And then they never see a metre again, but they see a little M scribbled onto this little bit of sheet that says, this is garden measures 6 metres by 3 metres. And then the next day they'll get another one, 2 metres by 1 metre. How many paving slabs? 30 centimetres big. Well, he said, how big's a metre? Is it that big? Why are they coming? Teachers, no! Come on, here's a metre. Oh yeah, we saw that 6 weeks ago. But recently, our experience of metres has been these little drawings in the books. It doesn't mean a thing. Get them out and measuring the garden. Measuring the beds where you're going to put the carrots. The carrots have got to be now, we've got to put them out, we've got to put them 30 centimetres apart. Where are they going to go? How many carrots can we get in this bed? Measure it with measuring sticks. Our children certainly know what a metre is. They're out there all the time in the playground, in the garden, measuring using metre sticks. So it's great for measuring. And as we carry on. Weights, advertising. We're using persuasive writing for a real purpose. Not, oh, pretend you're advertising some trainers, make-believe trainers for somebody that you're, oh. No, let's do some adverts to sell our products, our vegetables, all those sorts of things. And they start to do it. They start to get switched on. They start to enjoy it. They start looking at other people's adverts. They see, what's the catchy thing about it? What about the pricing? How much are we going to charge? What's going to be competitive but still going to make us money? So they have to start thinking about all those sorts of things. And then as we carry on, we've got them here, recording, observing. So all this food agenda isn't saying let's throw English and maths out and bring in food. It's saying this not only complements it, but makes it better for the children because they get real life learning. Who can learn to swim by sitting in a classroom? If you had driving lessons and you were paid £120 for 10 lessons and every week they sat you in a classroom and said, here is the picture of the driving wheel, steering wheel. Now this bit labelled over here, after 10 weeks you'd want your money back, wouldn't you? Because you would not know how to drive. And yet a lot of time we're teaching English and maths without giving them the actual context or the reality of what it's supposed to do. And food provides that greatly, as well as telling them how to stay healthy and giving them a better outcome in their lives. Here they are with their produce, some of the produce. Now, we do have a garden, but we also have an allotment now at a local inner city farm. So the allotment, we produce a lot in abundance up there. In our garden, we try and sort of grow a lot in a variety. So we do have the cucumbers and radishes and beetroots, all those tomatoes, what you'd expect to find in the garden, but we also have figs in the garden. We have kiwi vines, we have grapevines, we have oranges in the greenhouse, and we have lemon trees in the greenhouse. So we show them exactly what is possible. Because we've got so much, we can't grow it in abundance, so we have an allotment as well where we grow it in abundance. We've also got a community garden, which we're trying to get other schools engaged with, and that's another story. So we have, and I employ a full-time gardener. I need to employ a full-time gardener. I can't expect my teachers to come out and sort of, oh, we better dig over that bit because we're doing sunflower growing and measuring. And no, I have a gardener. Our wonderful garden is because I have a gardener. He's the person skilled to keep it like that so that teachers can access it any time for that learning. And what do? They collaborate with him. We're doing Tudors. We're doing history. We're going to be doing some bread that the monks used to. All of that sort of stuff. And he would say, okay, what do you want to grow then? What do you want? We'll show a Tudor garden. We'll show a wartime garden. Rationing and all that sort of stuff. He's great. And we've got a community garden now. I have a part-time gardener working up there 3 days a week. She's brilliant. We've got a wonderful garden area up there. What do we get? We get a sense of pride from the children. Why? Because now their work, if they're not good at English and they're told now, think about this, the trainers, and they produce something that's not good, it's real demotivating for them. It makes them lack confidence. Who are the children that are going to put their hands up if they don't understand something and say, Miss, I don't understand? The more confident ones, the ones who have had all that reassurance as children from their mums and dads and carers, aunts, well done, fantastic, brilliant. Who are confident? Who are the ones that aren't going to be putting their hands up when they don't understand something? The ones that lack the confidence, the ones who we're trying to get to, the ones who we're trying to encourage with healthy eating. They're going to be the ones that storm out the classroom. I don't want to show myself up in front of these people. I feel bad enough now because my mum doesn't recognise or my dad doesn't recognise or my carer doesn't recognise how well I do. In fact, they tell me, get out of the way, go away, I'm useless. So I'm not going to put my hand up and question this because I don't understand. And we'll have a look at examples of what can go onto papers and into books. Here are the children, what they're doing, taking responsibility. What happens when they now are creating something, they're doing something. They get results. If they plant the carrots will grow. If they're advertising for products, you'll see the parents lining up at the shop, buying things, and they're selling. They get money, they get results for what their efforts are making. So here they go. So it's for all ages. So it's nursery right up to year 6. We can't, all this, that's a poisonous plant, isn't it? Well, it might be. Well, let's just tell them not to eat it. That's a prickly plant, isn't it? Well, just tell them not to touch the prickles, It's for goodness sake, we've got in schools, we've got to be all this cosseting and worrying, and yet they walk through the woods or run through the park, and there's no cares out there, is there? We've got to, what do we do? We point out the dangers and we teach them how to do it safely. And in cooking, there's loads of dangers. Here we've had a visiting chef come and teach children. So he came along. He was a MasterChef winner at some point. So he came along. We've got exercise going on there. So that's the smoothie maker. Where you did the thing there. You probably all ever go it yourselves, yeah. And there you see the children really proud of what they're doing there. And he's over there conjuring up some stuff. Writing. So I did put this on here. It doesn't matter. Just sort of say what writing can you get. You can get news reports. You can get conservation. You can do conservation reports. We're looking after bees, stag beetles, and actually reality, we're doing it. We're getting the honey from these honeybees, which we've got in the school, and we can then point out about conservation, how important it is to be part of that for the children. We can do diary entry, observations, comparing, contrasting, making measurements. And with a weather station, not only can we measure the length of the sun or the height of the sunflower over the months, but we can also record the weather conditions, so we can see what the impact is of the weather on the growth of the plant. So it's much more detailed. And what the children are getting, they're producing wonderful graphs that really embed the understanding of that. This is a YouTube video as well, so I'm not going to show it all. But
hello everybody, my name is Ritika and I'm in the Charlton Manor kitchen and I'm going to be making pumpkin soup.
So that's our Charlton Manor food tube thing we do. So we do that. What have they got to do? They've got to write their own scripts. Are they going to be bothered to write their own scripts? Well, I'm going back to a child who came in just after Christmas from another school, a school where she was being restrained. She was being referred to a pupil referral unit for support there, and she came into our school. She absolutely loves the food channel because we have it playing in our lobby. And the children just come in and they say, Mr. Baker, can I cook lasagna next week? You say, yeah, fine. Go and research the ingredients, go and get a list for me, we'll go and buy the stuff, and then get the script done and we'll film it. And then we get it filmed by our IT guys. We've got 2 IT guys in the school. One of them does the filming for them and microphones. And they have to learn English, script writing. Fantastic. And then they've got to come with all the descriptions of that food that they're eating. So it's wonderful. What's she doing? Mr. Baker, can I cook spaghetti bolognese next week? Yep, fine, you need to do it. Yep, she's gone off. She's written pages for me of the script writing. And I said, you realise, this, and I always say to the children, this relies on a good report from your class teacher. I said, if I go to your class teacher and he says, they've been really bad, been shouting out, been getting out their seats, not been doing their work, then you don't do the filming. It's a reward, it's a privilege. She's been fantastic, absolutely changed around, incredible. Mum's really pleased. And I've just threw this here because exercise is important as well. So we do exercise in the school. So they're doing running and enjoying themselves, and we need all this healthy food for that. This is our shop. Now the shop is called Sweet Pickings, and you can see we've got some of our produce outside there, and the shop opens. Now we do it during break time. We give them fruit. The children have fruit during the morning break, but they also we do it after school on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so the parents can buy produce that the chefs might have made with the children to sell in there. And in fact, we have a group of children who work with our chef because I employ a chef who just works with the children. So he just works with doing lessons with the children. So it might be maths, English, and so on, supporting the teachers really, so they can get the lessons through cooking. And he also works with a group of children who through enterprise, they plan, they look at, they go off and they go and do surveys on parents. What do you like? Or they see what sells well in the shop, and then they go back and it informs them of what they're going to be making next. So it might be, and also what there's a lot of. So rhubarb jams, they had a load of rhubarb, so they made some rhubarb jam, and that sold well. Everything that it sells really well. And also we open this on a Saturday, so this is open and again, real key point is about weekend and holiday openings of schools, because there's a fantastic resource where there are kitchens, where we should be cooking and supplying food for the weekends, and it's closed. So we open on a Saturday, 10 till 2. 10 till 2 is healthy food, healthy eating. Parents come along and bring their children. They sit in our canteen area with the children. Children can play on the climbing equipment and so on, and they can have a healthy meal. And we also do a drop-in session from 10:30 till 1:30, 3 hours, where again it was on the worry that why do parents take the children shopping? Normally, because you have to, you know, you sort of, and you feel guilty about it sometimes. You're dragging them around a supermarket, and what you do is you bribe them. You say, well, look, behave, and you can have some sweets. Behave, and you'll have a McDonald's. Whatever it is, you sort of bribe them. And of course, the children are waiting, and they don't know when that is. Behave. How long? 5 minutes? 3 minutes? 2 hours? You're in your mind, you're thinking behave until I flipping finish his shopping. But I think, well, I've been behaving for the last 10 seconds. I've been walking nicely. Can I have some sweets? Because they're there, aren't they? They're there at children level. Can I have some sweets now? No. Behave and you'll get some. Well, I have been. Oh, no. We don't say behave for 2 hours. So anyway, the idea being is that the parents can drop them off. They've got 3 hours then to go and do the shopping. And also we give them a healthy meal, because what we don't want is them turning up after 3 hours saying, oh, thanks a lot, now come on, we're going to get McDonald's. We don't want that, so we give them a healthy meal as well. Just again, to get away from that habit of having the children eat those unhealthy foods at the weekends. And also that's open through the summer, so we do that open through the summer months. And again, because it's about food, about hunger, but holiday hunger, but it's also about child protection. We worry for 6 weeks we worry about child protection. Child staying with dad, or we got all those worries. And then sadly during the summer we got 6 weeks, but that child may not see anybody and may not have somebody to open up to. What are we doing in that 6 weeks? So about us, it's also about child protection. This is our breakfast club. This is Penny Lancaster, who came along to see the breakfast club, and the children posing with her. And she's got obviously a chicken in her hand, and so that was one of the things there. She was very good. Now here, so obviously we've got chickens. A few years ago we got chickens. So and we wanted to hatch them out, so the children knew where chickens came from. So we got some chicken. Sorry, we got eggs. What was it? I don't know which came first. However, what we do is each year we have the eggs in an incubator. We hatch them out. The chicks are there. The children see the chicks, and so we've now for the last 4 or 5 years been doing that. So we've got a nice range of chickens in there, and they come out and they wander around, and the children are so used to them now they don't bat an eyelid when they wander around. So it's fantastic. But they're a real great addition. It can get you into trouble. We had the gardener once almost arrested. He does sort of herd them a little bit and go, sort of uses his own chicken language, and we had the police turn up and they said, we understand a member of your staff is using foul language, but come on, that's not bad. That's the last word, that's it. But the children love it, and they don't bat an eyelid now because children get used to it. And they love going in there. And we have visiting schools now, and we've got one school in particular where they have a unit for ASD children. And when they phone up, they came along and they did a garden area and a kitchen area. So they had a cooking session and a gardening session. But what the boys from this ASD unit love the chickens, and so when they phone up now, they said, oh yeah, we just want to do a cooking session, but can we please afterwards go into the chickens? So the children go in there and see the chickens as well. So it's a real good thing for the children. Oh yeah, bees, creating a buzz. That wasn't as good. But that was an obvious one as well, that one. But the bees, obviously fantastic. And what do they say? Bees in the primary school. What are you doing getting bees in the school? The children get stung. I said, well, look, I'm not getting the bees into the school. Go into the garden during the summer. There's all these flowers. They're bringing the bees into the school, not me. The bees don't choose to go into a school where there are no flowers. So although we have a beehive, which can contain up to 60,000 bees in the height of summer, we haven't got 50 or 60,000 bees in our garden, except in the hive. They go up, they go off, and they go to places where flowers are plentiful, and that's usually in trees that are full of blossom. And so we don't have a massive problem with bees because we've got the hives there. And I pointed out to the parents that actually bees are here already. We haven't brought them in. And actually we've had them now for 6 years, And we've been fine, absolutely no. Yeah, I mean, children do the change. You can see they've got the suits on. They go and do the changes. Have they got stung? Yeah. But bees sting. What do? We write to parents and we say, your child may want to do the bee keeping after school. However, they may get stung. So if they're allergic to bees, please let us know. We don't want to stop them doing beekeeping, but we want to know so that if we have the EpiPens, we can treat them if needs be. And so it's about making sure we risk assess in that way. And in fact, one parent, we phoned up and said, oh, he's been stung. He says he wants to carry on. We just thought, you know, she said, well, I told him he'd get stung if he wasn't careful. No, you know, I'm not going to come and get him. You can carry on. And he did. He just carried on. You see, they get involved with the frames and getting the honey out. There they are, getting stuck in with the hive open. You can, yeah, and the hive is very good because you can actually see it and get around it. It's got glass, so the children can see it while it's all in operation without having the protection suit on, because the entrance is separated from the hive, so they can open it and see all through the glass panels. And they're making frames over there. They're weighing out honey. What are we doing? Maths. Now, you know, fantastic. Maths they can understand. Weighing and measuring. It sinks in. It understand. Why? Because we get away with all those other things they have to interpret first before they get to the actual what we're trying to teach them. And I'll go into that in a minute because I've got some, well, if I could, yeah, hopefully. But there's the honey. Again, we say children are fussy eaters. We say to them, that's the honey. Look, do we think children are going to eat that? Well, yeah, they do. Because we say we're going to filter it like that, and then you've got the honey there, and they eat it. And they've seen it with all that muck and goo in. So there's our own brand of honey. We teach them about conservation. So we've got a stag beetle area, yeah, and we've also got 3 hives now, and we teach them about the impact of, you know, if bees on the decline, the impact without bees, and why important they are to the earth. And so we have a campaigns group. We have a newspaper group as well, but we have a campaigns group, and they went and highlighted the plight of the bees last year, and they dressed up in bee suits, and they went walking around the local town, village, or whatever you want to call it, in Charlton, South East London, just to highlight the fact that bees were in decline and they need protection. And that got a lot of publicity, a lot of you know, raised awareness. What were the children doing? They were doing something that had an impact. So were they motivated? Yes. Were they learning? Yes. Did they think they were learning? No. Because their perception of learning is, I've got to not enjoy it, then I must be learning. And here, we had another swarm of bees. Must be a local beekeeper somewhere, but we had another swarm of bees, and they came into our nursery playground. This is our nursery playground. Where we had our original swarm, before we started keeping bees, there was panic. Who was panicking? The teachers. We've got to close the school. What were the children doing? Watching the swarm. So it was when I got the bees in and actually we started to understand bees. We got this here. What happened? A child came around. I've been sent round because we've got a swarm of bees in our nursery playground. I'm looking thinking, no. And it's usually the nursery teachers who are the most panicky about these sorts of things. Between you and me. Don't tweet that. Is that what I'm saying? But we thought, no, this can't be right. This can't be right. No. We said it must be just a few bees because they wouldn't be this calm. We went around there. Sure enough, a swarm of bees was in the playground. Whoa! What had the nursery teacher done this time? Okay, in you go, children. Just go and stand inside. We'll close the doors and just watch from the window. I thought, brilliant. So what did I do? I went up and got a year 4 child. I said, come down, get your suit on. We're going to go and collect this swarm of bees. And that's what we did. We collected the swarm up, and we took it over and made another hive. That's fantastic. We go to Chelsea. So here's the children. Again, growing. You really have to understand about growing. You know, it's one of those things where you say, oh, what do plants need? They know light, water. Well, actually, we really know what they need, because with Chelsea, these children have got to make sure that the plant is flowering or whatever it is on that day, on that week in May. Otherwise, it's no good for Chelsea. So we have to put it in the greenhouse, heat it, and then we're sort of helped and supported. And they say, oh no, pick it up, slow it down, slow the growth. So we take it out into the cold and into the shade or whatever it is, just to make sure it's ready for Chelsea. So what does this tell the children? Whoa, so we do really know that the heat, the light, everything has an impact on this, because we're speeding this up and slowing it down. And there they are packing up the vans to go to Chelsea. So they meet a few people at Chelsea, because they actually man the stands as well. So they stand there and they talk about their garden. What's that teaching them? Well, how to talk and engage with people. So here we have, well, you know who those people are. So exactly, absolutely, yeah. So Mr. Bean was there. And so it's fascinating for the children to see these people. And they were standing on there, and also they met some royalty. So this is one of our children. We had another child presenting a bouquet to the Queen. So that was a fantastic time for them. And this is our allotment. So here's the allotment up at the local farm. It's the biggest inner city farm in London. It's 90 acres. So we're really fortunate to have it only about a mile away. So it's really brilliant for the children. And they've got sheep, and they've got cows, and they've got pigs, and chickens, and they've got wonderful fields. So this is our allotment where we grow a lot of stuff. And then I approached them and said, look, can I lease a big bit of land off you? Because I want to get all, there are schools who maybe don't have the land. Schools that can't afford a gardener, schools that, all that sort of thing, can't afford a chef. I wanted them to get involved as well and be part of this because it's so vitally important for children. So I leased a bit of land off of and they were quite generous with the land. I don't know if so here's the bit of land here, and here. And we're working with, this is a guy called Charlotte Salt and Olivier Blanc. Olivier Blanc is the son of Raymond Blanc, and he's got his app, basically, which is called Henri le Worm, which again engages the children. Why? Because fast foods do it, don't they? Fast foods have Ronald McDonald and the Colonel and all this sort of stuff. What do sort of, there's a sort of healthy alternative to those? Well, you go into those, you go into a healthy shop, you feel that it's very grown up. And the children should be sitting down and not fiddling around or messing about. So that's very negative. So the idea being is we want an environment when actually, it looks fun, there's colouring and there's iPads to play on, and it's healthy, because we need to be doing that. But this is our community farm, so we're calling it the Henri le Worm Farm, a community, Charlton Manor and Henri le Worm. We've got the app, which is an interactive app as well, which the children love, and that's going nicely. And we've had volunteers coming in. These are volunteers doing some sort of award scheme, and you can see at the top there, and these are the raised beds that have gone in at the moment. It's a lovely space, and where they've situated it, it's right at the top of this rise, and as you look across, you wouldn't believe you're in London. All you can see is fields and sheep and stuff like that. It's wonderful, well placed. This is us at Borough Markets, selling some of our produce. And again, persuasive writing, leaflets advertising the produce, labels on the produce, and they've had to price it up and make sure, that they can actually sell that produce. It's exciting. They're using all those speaking and listening skills all the time, persuasive language all the time, all of this sort of stuff coming out. And because they're being so bathed in it, it means that they're easier to write about. Why? Because, this is a worry with English. English, we sort of sit children in classrooms and say, right, we're going to do some creative writing now. We're going to do some creative writing. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of an island or a picture of a jungle. Look, what do you think it's like in that jungle? Hot? Yeah, hot, yeah. But something more than hot. And we try and get all this lovely language from them by sitting them in a classroom looking at pictures. Well, that's how are you going to get that? Because actually we're looking at, look at this author. Look at the way this author's written this book. Look at the language they're using. Why do you think they use that language? Well, because they went blooming down to the jungle and experienced it. They weren't sat in a classroom looking at some other authors writing. And that's the problem. We've got to make sure, as authors or as poets, what do? They go and experience the place. If I want to write about the sea, I'll go down to the sea and live there for a while, experience it, bathe myself in it. And we don't do that with the children. So it's about making sure food does it in such a wonderful way, and the places you can go is such a wonderful experience for the children. And while you're there, what you're doing is helping them to choose that language. It's fantastic. Yeah, but what do you mean? Well, it's more than fantastic. And then you start bringing out the words. Because now they've experienced it, now when I write about it, I can think, actually, I bet that experience is like that, what I felt down there. So I can now include that word that I learned when I was there. Abroad, we do lots of work abroad. This is when I went to Holland. This was more about decorative things, flowers and stuff like that. So I'll just quickly whiz through this because I want to get on to cooking. That's Holland. This was France. We did a project in France. This is India. We helped them design a garden. We did it via Skype and internet and so on. This is them trying their food. We had an international food day, and because they said, you haven't one, we'll have one as well. So the same day they had their international food day, we exchanged recipes, and they cooked ours and we cooked theirs and so on. Needs sampling. Of course, someone's got to sample it, all right? And I wouldn't expect my staff to do it. I wouldn't do anything that so the children love cooking it. Here we are talking over the internet in Nepal. So our highest ethnic minority group is Nepalese. So we've got a lovely link with an orphanage, and this is it. We just had, I went over there a couple of years back. We've got 3 members of staff who have just come back just before half term who went out there, and we do a lot of connections over there. It's run by an uncle and aunt of pupils in our school. The incredible thing is to try and get across to the children. They have a garden where they're cooking, where they're growing food, but they're doing it out of necessity. They have to grow it because it helps them to reduce their food bill so they can afford to get by. It's incredible. And that's one of the orphans, actually. He's about 15, but he cooks the meals for the rest of the children. This is Japanese food. They were doing making sushi and so on and so forth. They went to a local restaurant as well. This is the German. We have a school in Bavaria, and we're having a Bavarian festival next Friday, actually, funny enough. This is the school that came and visited us. We go and visit them. It's very, very busy there. It's obviously in the middle of the city. You can see rush hour there. I think rush hour was there. They're about halfway up the street. God, I couldn't get past them. I was late to school because I was stuck behind those two people. No, it's called Cheslitz. That's a school up there. It's a secondary school, but we also now link with the primary school. And we're helping them to design and build a garden out there. And in fact, this one is, this is our children out in Germany. That's my school gardener. So he went out to Germany with our children. And these are the German children. And this is the garden that we've planned and helped to design over in Germany, which is a fantastic experience for the children. And it's that space there. That's it before the garden goes in. That's the secondary school's bees. This is our International Day. Parents really proud of showing. Again, what does food do? It brings communities together. When do we eat? Well, weddings, funerals, birthdays, anniversaries, everything like that. We use food because it really brings people together. Because if you can't talk about anything else, you'll talk about the food. It really brings communities together. And when we have an International Food Day, and again, we're talking about parents who have come from really quite difficult circumstances. And I say to them, look, if you cook it, buy all the ingredients, I'll pay you for the ingredients, bring your receipts in, and I'll pay you the ingredients. I'd just like you to cook your meal, and we all want to sample it. And every time we do it, we get a wonderful selection of meals, and not one receipt comes in. So they pay for it all themselves. So it's like a gift to everybody else. And again, that really strengthens the community because it's sort of a giving part. But they are so pleased to do it. It's lovely. This is our teaching kitchen. So we have a kitchen for the school dinners. I don't know, I'm going to get 5 minutes in a minute. But this is our teaching kitchen. Again, it's about putting value into the kitchen. I wanted to have something that was of good quality. So we had it stainless steel. It's all lower for the children. You can see this is where they wash their hands. It's all been lowered, made bespoke. Raymond Bloke, who came and opened it for us, wonderful, wonderful. And he worked with our children there. They had a fantastic time. Harry Hill dropped in because he had a few cooking tips to give. Not really. And these are the two chefs that work in my teaching kitchen. So they're not school dinner. They don't work in the school dinner. They work in the teaching kitchen. And so we have then, you see the children. Every day this is used. This is a child who's cooked his signature dish. So this was his mum's recipe. And again, this side as well. This was a science lesson where we were looking at layers within a pond. So the frogs, the tadpoles going down. They did it again this year, but they did it in the sea. So you went down to the dark layers of the jelly. Chefs are really clever at making, knowing how to do those sorts of things. So we can take food, teaching food or the subjects through food to a whole new level when you get a chef. As teachers, it's just, where's a pizza? Cut in half, there's your fractions. Actually, when we've got the chefs there with it, it's so creative. It goes to a whole new level. They're doing a barbecue over there, obviously. And they're doing it with unusual meats, so it's things like ostrich and kangaroo meat and stuff, which at that time, interestingly, you could get from Iceland at that time. But we also, the chef, brought in wood pigeon and squirrel, and they had their feathers on and their fur on. And with a Year 5 class, they plucked the feathers and did everything, and then got the squirrel and skinned the squirrel. And the Year 5, if they didn't want to stay, they could go out into the back into the classroom. Only those that were interested and wanted to see it had to stay. And then they cooked it, and they all ate it. They all had a bit of it. It was interesting. But that was an interesting thing. Again, learning about where their food comes from. Yeah, very drastic. But, once you start this, this is one of the warnings to head teachers. Once you start this, then what happens is you get back from teachers and chefs, real creative stuff going on. And here, so we've got nursery here using sharp knives. They use sharp knives. Do they get cut? Yeah, occasionally. What do? We put a plaster on, say, careful next time, make sure you tuck your finger in and do it like this. Yeah? In the same way, we don't stop them from using knives, do we? I say to parents, what are you going to do? Keep them indoors all day, every day, because it's dangerous to cross a road? You get killed if you cross a road. You know what I mean? So we need to teach the dangers of knives young, don't we? Because children don't see that we learn about dangers of knives and how dangerous they can be. And knives are very, very dangerous. What can they do? They can kill. But children don't understand killing, do they? Because on their computer games, it just comes back to life. So it's about making sure we get those real lessons in about knives and how dangerous they are and how sharp they can be. And they can see how sharp they are. Sometimes, yes, they'll feel how sharp they are. But that's part of the learning process. In the same way, when you cross a road, you don't tell a child you're never going to cross a road until you're 14, then I'll send you out, you can go away, do what you want, because somehow you'd have learned. No, we teach them safely how to cross roads all the time. So that's that. I'm going to have to rush. Here he is talking with some others. Levi Roots has come along. He's done some wonderful stuff. First nutritional standards really amazed me. I just put it up there just to put it out there, really. 1941, the first nutritional standards. I found that really interesting. Yeah, and that was that. So here we are. This is our dinner centre now. So this is where the children eat. We call it a restaurant. We have waiters, and they work every day. They've got 2 shifts. Some do the early shift, some do the late shift. They put their bow ties on. Yes, they have to apply for the job. Yes, they get an interview. Yes, they get sacked. We had 1 sacking so far. And, well, he turned up and then put his waiter suits on. And then, because there wasn't much going on, he went out and ran around in the playground for a while. But he'd done it 2 or 3 times. So the person said, right, that's it, you're sacked. But he then reapplied and he's back on the waiting team again now. So, and what happens on a Saturday morning cafe? We have a couple of the waiters turn up. Boys, again, who have come through exclusion from other schools. They turn up on a Saturday. Oh, how you doing? Right, yeah, fine. Is it all right if we wait on the tables? Yeah, if you want to. So they go and put the waiter suits on. So the parents are sitting down on the Saturday and the boys are taking their orders and coming up and clearing tables and everything like that. Just because they want to. It's filling in their time. So that's the waiting team. And here we are. Yeah, we have them by the fruit and the veg, handing it to the Key Stage 1 children, the younger children. They also won't let children leave the table if they haven't eaten enough. So the children have to put their hand up. No, you have to eat a bit more than that, eat a bit more than that. And parents, what, you make them eat? Yeah, of course we do. Most parents come in, oh yeah, make sure you make them eat, because they want to get out and play football. But, you know, others, well, you make them eat. Yeah, I do. You can't make them eat. Why not? Well, because you can't make children do things. Does your child do homework? Do you make them do homework? Do you read with them? Do they go to bed on time? Do they come to school every day? We're constantly making children do things. Why? Because we know it's best for their futures. Well, what they put into their body and how much of it is incredibly important for their future. Yes, I will make them do it. Okay, so there we are on the things there. Wonderful food selection. Beautifully presented. We had to get rid of this guy. He was terrible at serving. No. Jamie Oliver, again, fantastic guy. Came along to the school, brilliant. Children loved him. Parents loved him. We all loved him. He's fantastic. He's done a lot for school foods, as has Henry and John as well. You know, it's brilliant that, that there's been such a focus on it. Going on, here we are. Pride in their uniforms, really making sure they do a proper service. This was all I was going to say. How we confuse children. We can put this on here. We do a whole one. We say, hey, there's a whole one. How much we got? 1. Okay, fantastic. Now here we go. We draw another one cut in half, shaded. And we say, how much shaded? And a lot of them say, oh, half. But the one will be looking at it thinking, ooh, 1.5? And you go, no, not 1.5. For goodness sake, why 1.5? Come on, how much is shaded? And of course, we're not thinking that actually, if you look at it backwards, well, that one's shaded and this half is shaded. So maybe they're just getting confused. And when you say no, it confuses them even more. It's not a good way of showing things. And then you put one on here with 4s in it and say, how much is now shaded now? By that time, they're too scared to answer because they're going to get it wrong. So again, that's confusion. Here, we can put a pizza there. Right, okay, we've got pizza there. Now we're going to cut it into 3s. How many pizzas have we got now? Or 1 and, well, we've got 2. It's confusing, isn't it, by drawing it? Stick them in a kitchen, there's no confusion, isn't there? Cut a pizza in quarters, you eat a bit, how much have we got left? We've got half, or take one away, you've got a bit, how much have we got left? There's no confusion around food. And the same things apply, here we go, this is what I was talking about earlier. We see these sorts of things. This has come off the internet, off of real, booster stuff, 9 millimetres by 15 millimetres. But that's the same size, that's 2 metres by 9 metres. And this is 8 centimetres by 6 centimetres. Do those measurements mean a blooming thing? It doesn't, does it? It doesn't mean a thing. Okay, some children, or a lot of children, will be able to think, oh, I know what that means, it's scaling. But what about that one child who's sitting there thinking, I haven't got a clue what that means? Well, one child in one class, in one school, that's how many classes? 16 classes, that's 16 children. Over 10 schools, that's 160, well, you do the maths, it just carries on and on and on. And we've got to make sure every child learns properly. Stick them in outside and measuring, none of them get confused because you've taken away that barrier of misunderstanding. And of course, the last one, weights. You all know that weighing is something physical about weighing, isn't it? When you're emptying out the sugar, the bag's getting lighter. So that means that's getting heavier. So it must be pushing down. And the needle's gradually going up. so I can understand weights and measures. Here, we have an arrow to denote the fact that it's going downwards, but sometimes arrows are used for labelling. I can't see that that's actually gone up to 1. I don't know that that's actually moved down. It's just that arrow that's telling me that. And of course, it might just be that one child in that one class, in that one school. But that's confusing. That can be confusing. How do they, you know, it's confusing. And then make it even worse. The teacher says, right, okay, here's the worksheets now. You do them. Now you've got worksheets with all those on. Where's the arrow pointing now? To you. Hold on a minute, it's pointing this way. Makes it even more confusing. And sometimes those who lack confidence, those ones who find it really hard to ask questions, sorry, I'm on the last one now, who say, they're saying, okay, miss, I don't understand. They say, where's it pointing? They say, it's pointing down. The teacher goes, jumping up and down, it's pointing down. God, well, it's not, it's pointing to me. I don't understand it, So it's about making sure we're clear, and cooking does that. The other thing it teaches is respect, responsibility, and reliability. And I'm just going to quickly move on. That was something that we won awards for. And this is the last slide. Thank you for that. And it just really, this is a real big thing for you. And I think this was a statement that was made in 2004. But the last bit, this may result in a school lunch service that will have an educational benefit and health benefit for the child. Well, I think this is going to result. You out there are teachers. You are leaders and helpers for the future. As I say, it was great to hear that the Chef of the Year was using history to get that focus in there. What you did was you taught children. So not only be a chef, you're a teacher. So let's make sure we carry on with this because we know it's right, let alone what the research is going to show us. We know historically things have been done and then the research comes and then schooling became compulsory and the government took it over. We know that things were done because it was right, then the research came and hospitals came into being. We know usually when something's done, the research will follow to support it, and then something needs to be done about it. So thanks very much. Thank you.